Hippopotamus is Greek for river horse, and the animal has been known since ancient times. Hippopotamus is Greek for river horse, and the animal has been known since ancient times. Hippopotamuses are often seen basking on the banks or sleeping in the waters of rivers, lakes, and swamps next to grasslands. Hippos are well adapted to aquatic life. The ears, eyes, and nostrils are located high on the head so that the rest of the body may remain submerged. The ears and nostrils can be folded shut to keep out water. The body is so dense that they can walk underwater, where they can hold their breath for 5 minutes. Although often seen basking in the sun, hippos lose water rapidly through the skin and become dehydrated without periodic dips. 𝗙𝗿 bioprinting is the process of 3D printing a biological structure using bioinks consisting of cells and other biological materials. This innovation can be used in the medical field for different procedures, especially for organ transplants. As of now, transplant patients run the risk of organ rejection, an instance where the body recognizes a donor organ as foreign body and enlists the immune system to treat it as such. Since the donor organ is necessary to the patient, other measures need to be taken to try to stop the immune system from fighting against it. The use of bioinks and specialization of 3D bioprinters can result in less rigorous medical therapies for these patients. Australia and New Zealand have many common links. Both countries were recently settled by Europeans, are predominantly English-speaking and in that sense, share a common cultural heritage. Although in close proximity to one another, both countries are geographically isolated and have small populations by world standards, have similar histories and enjoy close relations on many fronts. In terms of population characteristics, Australia and New Zealand have much in common. Both countries have minority indigenous populations, and during the latter half of the 20th century have seen a steady stream of migrants from a variety of regions throughout the world. The Ito Tokyo Tate Mono-en is an open-air architectural museum, but could be better thought of as a park. 30 buildings from the 19th and early 20th centuries from all around Tokyo were restored and relocated to the space, where they can be explored by future generations to come. The buildings are a collection of houses and businesses, shops, and bathhouses, all of which would have been present on a typical middle-class street from Itakura to Showa, Tokyo. The west section is residential, with traditional thatched roof bungalows of the 19th century. Meiji-era houses are also on view, constructed in a more Western style after Japan opened its borders in 1868. Clownfish became famous thanks to the movie Finding Nemo. In real life, their social hierarchy is simple: larger fish dominate their smaller counterparts. Now we know that to reinforce this social structure, the fish communicate with aggressive and submissive audio signals. The new info is in the journal PLOS 1. Researchers recorded clownfish calls, capturing this noise as one chased a smaller fish. These popping sounds function as an aggression signal. When a clownfish has been chased and wishes to submit, it shakes its head in a submissive gesture and produces clicking noises like these. The researchers compared the aggressive and submissive calls, and found that the sound pulses in a submissive signal were shorter and more high-pitched. color is a remarkable characteristic of life. To understand color, it's helpful to consider light as a wave. Before diving into that, let's explore the general concept of waves. Imagine sitting on a boat in the ocean, observing a cork bobbing up and down in the water. You notice that the motion repeats itself, following the same path over and over, up and down, up and down. This repetitive pattern is a key feature of waves. You decide to measure the time it takes for the cork to go from its highest position to its lowest and back up again, finding that it takes 2 seconds. In physics terms, you have determined the period of the waves the cork is riding on, the time it takes for a wave to complete one full cycle of motion. The lack of mental and emotional well-being among Native Alaskans is a significant social issue faced by the state of Alaska. It is unfortunate that many Native Americans across the country are living in poor conditions, and this is especially true for Native Alaskans. Entire villages are plagued by the absence of mental and emotional well-being, resulting in continued poor physical and mental health. Alcohol abuse, domestic violence, homicides, and suicides are distressingly prevalent among them, leading to the disintegration of families. It is tragic to witness the abuse and inadequate education of many children, who themselves resort to alcohol and substances. The process of converting facts into memories involves 3 key steps. First, there is acquisition, where new information is encountered, activating specific brain areas corresponding to sensory experiences. To form lasting memories, these experiences must be consolidated by the hippocampus, influenced by the amygdala, which prioritizes emotionally significant encounters. The hippocampus then encodes memories by strengthening synaptic connections formed during the initial sensory experience. Once encoded, memories can be recalled or retrieved later. Memories are distributed throughout the brain, with the prefrontal cortex likely signaling their retrieval. How does stress impact these stages? Consider the scenario of being on vacation in Athens for the first time. During the day, numerous new events, sights, and sounds unfold, making time seem to pass quickly. However, in retrospect, when looking back the next day or after returning from vacation, the day appears to have been long. This observation was noted by William James over a century ago in his Principles of Neuroscience. Retrospectively, we estimate the duration of time based on the number of memories we have. If a period is filled with new memories, it gives the impression of being a long period of time. In contrast, during the actual experience, we rely on an internal clock in our brain, paying less attention to time. While many believe that a good work culture involves perks like free food, swag, prestige, and making friends, these are not the top priorities for the majority of American workers today. If company leadership remains under these illusions, they will continue incentivizing and designing environments that no longer align with the true priorities of the workforce. What people truly desire is for work to enhance their overall life. They want to be trusted to make decisions about how they work and seek more meaning and purpose in their tasks. The illusions that keep pulling us back to conformity, which the group no longer values, hinder us from achieving a fulfilling life.
Looking out of a window, you can determine the current season based on the visible natural elements. This practice of observing biological events in relation to seasonal and climate changes is known as phenology. By examining the leaves of a tree or plant and assessing the qualities of sunlight outside, you can deduce the season. Phenology has been utilized by humans since ancient times. For example, noticing daffodil buds pushing through the snow indicates the arrival of spring, while witnessing leaves transition from green to red and observing migrating birds signals the onset of autumn. The term phenology originates from the Greek words pheno, meaning to show or appear, and logos, meaning to study. While it is uncommon for adults to contemplate their parents' thoughts, the question of our own value persists, albeit redirected toward modern authorities like media and social media. In this unforgiving arena, individuals plagued by self-doubt seek reassurance and validation, implicitly asking questions like, "Do I deserve to exist?" or, "Am I beautiful or respectable enough?" Unfortunately, social media, built upon the tribulations of the individual, rarely provides a reliable affirmative answer. These self-doubters find themselves trapped in an endless cycle of seeking reassurance whenever their spirits plummet, turning to their phones for permission to continue. If this resonates with us, we should be curious about and perhaps envious of those who enjoy freedom from such anxieties. An important lesson I've gleaned is that highly effective individuals and teams in any field share a common practice that we can all adopt. They deliberately alternate between two distinct zones, the learning zone and the performance zone. The learning zone is when their primary objective is improvement, engaging in activities designed to enhance their skills. They focus on areas they have not yet mastered, fully expecting to make mistakes and viewing them as opportunities for learning. Conversely, the performance zone is when they strive to execute tasks to the best of their ability. Here, they concentrate on their existing mastery, aiming to minimize mistakes. The process of feeling full begins when food travels from your mouth to your esophagus and reaches your stomach, gradually filling it up. This causes the stomach's muscular wall to stretch, expanding like a balloon. Nerves wrapped around the stomach wall detect this stretching and send signals through the vagus nerve to the brainstem and hypothalamus, which are the main regions controlling food intake. However, the brain uses more than just the stomach's stretching to sense fullness. Hormones produced by endocrine cells in your digestive system also play a role. These hormones respond to specific nutrients in your gut and bloodstream, gradually increasing as you digest food. In 2019, 𝗧𝗿𝗀𝘀𝗀𝗲 conducted a study analyzing satellite images of global tree cover. By incorporating climate and soil data and excluding areas used by humans, they found that the Earth could potentially support almost 1 billion hectares of additional forest, equivalent to 1.2 trillion trees. This unexpected finding prompted further research. Updated estimates suggest that restored ecosystems could capture 100 to 200 billion tons of carbon, accounting for more than 1/6 of human carbon emissions. 6 countries hold over half of the potential forest canopy for restoration projects. This research also provides insights for existing initiatives like the Bond Challenge, which aims to restore 350 million hectares of forest by 2030.
Water plays a central role in promoting sustainable development. It not only encompasses water resources themselves but also the various services they provide, which are crucial for reducing poverty, fostering economic growth, and ensuring environmental sustainability. Water contributes to enhancing social well-being and inclusive growth, affecting the lives of billions of people, from ensuring food and energy security to promoting human and environmental health. In an attainable future characterized by sustainability, water and related resources are effectively managed to support human well-being and maintain the integrity of ecosystems within a strong economy. The availability of sufficient and safe water is ensured to meet the basic needs of every individual, with reliable and affordable water supply and sanitation services that facilitate healthy lifestyles and behaviors. This means that developers and homebuyers can now obtain insurance and mortgages for straw homes and buildings. The innovative straw walls in these new houses provide twice the insulation required by current UK building regulations. Based on monitoring a 𝗙𝗿𝗶𝗹 residential development in Leeds, fuel bill reductions of up to 90% are expected. The walls are constructed using mod cell technology, which utilizes prefabricated panels comprising a wooden structural frame filled with straw bales or hemp, and then rendered with breathable lime-based systems or ventilated timber or brick cladding. This technology boasts the lowest carbon footprint and best operational 𝗖𝗹𝘀𝗀 performance of any construction system currently available. In fact, straw buildings can even have a carbon-negative impact since straw absorbs 𝗖𝗹² during its growth as an agricultural co-product. Banks offer short-term financing to companies in the form of overdrafts on current accounts. The advantage of an overdraft lies in its flexibility. When a company experiences an increase in cash requirements due to seasonal factors, it can continue issuing checks while the overdraft balance grows. Conversely, when goods and services are sold and cash starts flowing in, the overdraft can be reduced. A prime example of a business operating in this manner is farming. Farmers use overdrafts to finance the purchase of seeds for arable farming or feed for livestock during the winter, covering the period when crops or animals are growing and maturing. The overdraft is then repaid upon the sale of crops or animals. However, a significant disadvantage of an overdraft is its repayable on-demand nature. Ethics encompasses a set of moral responsibilities that establish what is right and wrong in our actions and choices. Numerous professions have formalized ethical frameworks to guide practitioners in their respective fields. For instance, doctors often take the Hippocratic Oath, which emphasizes the principle of doing no harm to patients. Engineers adhere to an ethical guide that prioritizes the safety, health, and welfare of the public. Within these professions, as well as in the realm of science, these ethical principles become ingrained in practitioners' practices, requiring little conscious effort to uphold. Violations of ethics are considered highly serious and can result in professional consequences, such as license revocation, and in some cases, legal repercussions. Scientific ethics revolves around honesty and integrity throughout all stages of scientific practice, encompassing the accurate reporting of results and proper attribution of collaborators. This ethical framework guides scientists from data collection to publication and beyond. Similar to other professions, adherence to scientific ethics becomes an integral part of scientists' work, as they recognize that the reliability of their work and the overall body of scientific knowledge depend on upholding these principles. Many ethical principles in science focus on producing unbiased scientific knowledge, which is crucial when others seek to build upon or extend research findings. The scientific ethic promotes open data publication, peer review, replication, and collaboration. The traditional model of working from 9 to 5 for a single employer is vastly different from how a significant portion of the workforce earns a living today. Millions of individuals create multiple income streams and work independently rather than in structured payroll jobs. Although this is not a new phenomenon, it has not been adequately captured in official statistics, resulting in data gaps that obscure a substantial portion of labor market activity. To gain a deeper understanding of the independent workforce and the motivations behind independent work, the McKinsey Global Institute conducted a survey of approximately 8,000 respondents across Europe and the United States. The survey encompassed income generated in the past year, including primary work and other income-generating activities.
The encounter between the people of the Americas and the Europeans was a turning point for both sides. The native population was struck by a massive wave of European diseases that left them weakened and vulnerable to the Spanish conquistadors' armies. Within a few decades, Spain managed to conquer vast territories that included the Caribbean, the Aztec Empire of modern-day Mexico, and the Inca Empire that extended across the Andes. The native people were made slaves and forced to work on plantations and mines. Spain became rich and powerful due to this conquest, and this success did not go unnoticed by other European nations. They soon began to send their own explorers to the Americas in search of wealth, power, and even a new trade route to Asia. On the other hand, the circular economy is a system that aims to eliminate waste and the continual use of resources. Unlike the traditional linear economy, where we make, consume, and throw away. Moving circular is all about creating a circle where we design out waste and pollution by keeping products and materials in use for as long as possible and finding ways to create new resources from what we discard. The circular economy prioritizes extracting the maximum value from products while in use, then recovering and regenerating products and materials at the end of each service life. Additionally, the circular economy places significant emphasis on services, maintenance, and refurbishment of assets. However, as resources become increasingly scarce, manufacturers and distributors in the circular economy are introducing additional value-added services. Our team is currently conducting research on the locomotion of various species of apes, including our closest living relative, the orangutan. We are also interested in understanding the locomotion of the common ancestor of humans and other apes. One of the major challenges in this area of study is that, while we have a lot of information about how apes move around in their natural forest habitats, we still lack knowledge about the energetic cost of their movements and the various solutions they use to navigate the complex forest canopy. In order to address this gap in our understanding, our team is taking a unique approach by using the movements of athletes in a controlled environment as an analogy for the movements of large-bodied apes in the forest. According to the findings of Francis E. Jensen, a professor of neurology at Children's Hospital Boston and Harvard Medical School, the teenage brain is not simply an adult brain with fewer experiences. Rather, it is a paradoxical time of development characterized by very sharp brains that are not quite sure how to utilize their full potential. Over the last decade, advancements in technology such as functional magnetic resonance imaging have allowed researchers to uncover the unique structure and chemistry of the adolescent brain. This research has revealed that young brains have both rapidly developing synapses as well as sections that remain unconnected. As a result, teenagers are more susceptible to the influence of their environment and are more prone to impulsive behavior, even without the impact of souped-up hormones or any genetic or familial predispositions.
In today's globally integrated economy, businesses are forced to seek out the cheapest and best resources as far as possible. Global supply chains provide businesses with the opportunity to take advantage of low-cost goods and services in foreign locations, leading to reduced operating costs. However, depending on outsourcing increases the number of risk factors beyond the business's control. For example, a tsunami in Japan disrupted an auto assembly plant in Ohio when essential parts couldn't be delivered. And severe flooding in Thailand delayed the manufacture of computers for the US market when hard drives failed to arrive. Ethical considerations may also play a role, as even when a firm ensures that contracted factory owners provide fair wages and safe working conditions, abuses still occur. And it is difficult to assign responsibility.
One of the most notable benefits of globalization is that it has enabled countries with limited resources to gain access to goods and knowledge that can help to improve their standards of living. For instance, trade treaties such as the USMCA and the EU have played a key role in lowering or abolishing tariffs that restrict the flow of products across borders. As a result, countries with rare resources or specific skills have been able to focus on their particular strengths and sell their goods to a global market. This has helped to improve the economic conditions of many nations, and according to The Economist magazine, freer trade policies have lifted 1 billion people out of poverty. However, there are also some downsides to globalization. For instance, Outsourcing has enabled businesses to exploit people as sources of cheap labor required to work under substandard conditions. The need for political cooperation at the global level has led to the creation of international cooperative bodies such as the United Nations and the World Trade Organization. These organizations exist because it is impossible for any country to remain isolated from events happening around the world. People's ideas and expectations are shaped by what they see happening around them. And the rapid flow of information to most areas of the world means that people are very aware of events taking place around the globe virtually as they happen. While some nations such as North Korea choose to try to isolate themselves from the rest of the world, others try to control the flow of information within their borders. However, technology makes it very difficult to control access to information, and depending on how it is used, technology can both reduce and increase political tensions and military conflicts. In most organizations, there are both formal and informal information systems. Formal communication systems refer to the methods used to convey information necessary for conducting the business of the organization. These communications conform to rules and regulations prescribed by the profession or law, such as formal reporting procedures for tracking injuries in the workplace. The information flows within the chain of command or within task responsibilities. For instance, managers may require regular progress reports, and scheduled meetings may be held to exchange information on the status of a project. Human resources may also arrange seminars to convey new policies and procedures. The formal communication system ensures that necessary information flows through the organization, and that dissemination of this information is controlled. Feedback is a message sent in the opposite direction, from the receiver to the sender. However, many problems can occur during feedback, especially when it is not important or wanted. Much of the information that is communicated is intended to keep people informed, and acknowledgement or response is not expected. For instance, when management sent the notice about Matthias's appointment, it did not expect every employee to respond. However, sometimes feedback is important to ensure that both the sender and receiver have the same information and interpret it the same way. In such cases, the initial sender must be sure to understand the feedback provided by the receiver. Ask questions to clarify any misinterpretation, and respond to any questions. Being a good listener is the last step in good communication.
Solar panels have been a popular choice for generating electricity from sunlight. However, their use in urban areas, especially neighborhoods with tall buildings or shops, has been limited due to their size and shape. This has posed a challenge for researchers looking to make solar panels more accessible to people living in cities. But with recent advancements, a breakthrough has been made in the form of transparent solar panels. These panels have been designed to serve as power-generating windows in homes. They are made up of solar cells that absorb radiation from the sun to produce electricity. However, unlike traditional solar panels, they can allow visible light to pass through them while still selectively absorbing invisible solar radiation, such as infrared and UV lights. This is made possible through the use of transparent, luminescent solar concentrators. Fiji, an archipelago in the South Pacific, is among the many countries that are facing the impact of the climate crisis. With over 300 islands and a population of under 1 million people, the majority of its inhabitants live near the coastline. This makes the country highly susceptible to the adverse effects of climate change, such as sea level rise, flooding, and extreme weather events. In order to adapt to these changes, various options are being explored, such as reclaiming surrounding areas, dredging riverbeds, and raising houses on stilts. Relocation is seen as a last resort and can only occur after all alternative measures have been considered and ruled out in consultation with the community. However, even when all parties agree to the relocation, access to funding can still be a limiting factor. Male chicks have long been at a disadvantage in the poultry industry, as they are unable to lay eggs and tend to have less meat than their female counterparts. This means that they are viewed as a liability by farmers, who often resort to gassing as a means of disposing of them. The widespread culling of male chicks is not only tragic but also requires significant resources from farmers, who must expend time and effort sorting males from females immediately after they hatch. However, a groundbreaking development in animal welfare could potentially revolutionize the poultry industry and put an end to the mass culling of an estimated 7 billion male chicks each year. Israeli researchers have developed gene-edited hens that lay eggs that only hatch female chicks, potentially eliminating the need to cull male chicks entirely. The impact of cigarette litter goes far beyond merely being an eyesore in public spaces. The ingestion of cigarette butts by wildlife can lead to severe injury or death, and the chemicals present in these discarded items can leach into soil and water, posing a risk to both environmental and human health. Recently, a new law has come into effect that mandates tobacco companies to pay for the cleanup of millions of cigarette butts that have been littered in public areas. This new law is part of a larger environmental initiative aimed at reducing the amount of single-use plastic pollution by prohibiting the use of items such as cutlery, plates, straws, polystyrene cups, and cotton buds. Although Spain's new law is a step in the right direction, it will be important to closely monitor its implementation and effectiveness. Our understanding of numerical concepts extends beyond language and is not limited to humans alone. Even non-human animals can mentally represent the number of objects in a collection. Researchers have been gathering evidence to support this claim and have identified various ways in which non-human animals use numerical abilities for survival. The ability to recognize and understand numbers can provide an evolutionary advantage. For instance, bees can count dots one at a time while crawling over them, which helps them identify flowers by the number of petals. In turn, this aids them in collecting food efficiently. Small fish join the largest shoal to reduce the risk of predation. By recognizing numbers, they can identify the largest shoal and increase their chances of survival. Numerical abilities are also crucial for navigation.
Businesses can benefit significantly from investing in employee skills and strengths. Building and developing employee skills and understanding strengthens the business on a professional level. Companies often fund employees' education if they want to pursue advanced degrees or certifications in their field. Training seminars and programs can also be useful tools for professional development. However, investing in personal development can also benefit the organization. Programs that help develop leadership skills or seminars that train employees in managing interpersonal communication skills have obvious practical value in most organizational settings. While it may not seem directly related to business goals, personal development can contribute to a positive work culture, employee engagement, and ultimately the organization's success. The topic of low-calorie sweeteners is one that has been surrounded by controversy. While some studies have praised their beneficial effects on health and weight loss, others have linked them to serious health conditions such as high blood pressure and an increased risk of type 2 diabetes. Recently, a large study of French adults suggested that consuming sweeteners could lead to an increased risk of heart disease. 𝗙𝗿𝗀𝘀𝗀𝗏, an associate professor at George Washington University, is working to unravel the science behind this contentious topic. Her research is focused on determining whether artificial sweeteners can give us the sweet taste we crave while helping us maintain a healthy weight and prevent chronic disease, or if they should be consumed with caution. Nutrition research is often challenging because it relies heavily on observational studies that are subject to people's own reports of what they eat and when they eat it, which can be unreliable. To gain a clearer understanding of how breakfast consumption affects weight loss, Alexandra Johnstone at the University of Aberdeen in the UK and her colleagues conducted a study involving 30 overweight or obese adults with no underlying health conditions. By the end of the study, the researchers found that there was little difference in how much weight participants lost when they ate more in the morning or the evening. This suggests that calories are metabolized the same way regardless of when they are consumed. Two decades ago, Kashmiri houseboat owners rubbed their hands every spring at the prospect of the annual influx of tourists. From May to October, the hyacinth-choked waters of Dal Lake saw flotillas of vividly painted shikaras carrying Indian families, boho Westerners, young travelers, and wide-eyed Japanese. Carpet sellers honed their skills, as did purveyors of anything remotely embroidered, while the houseboats initiated by the British Raj provided unusual accommodation. Then, in 1989, separatist and Islamist militancy attacked and everything changed. Hindus and countless Kashmiri businesspeople bolted, at least 35,000 people were killed in a decade, the lake stagnated, and the houseboats rotted. The 6 programs represented here report that word of mouth is by far their most effective recruitment tool, particularly because it typically yields candidates who are similar to previously successful candidates. Moreover, satisfied candidates and school systems are likely to spread the word without any special effort on the part of their program. Other, less personal advertising approaches, such as radio and television spots and local newspaper advertisements, have also proven fruitful, especially for newer programs. New York uses a print advertising campaign to inspire dissatisfied professionals to become teachers. Subway posters send provocative messages to burned out or disillusioned professionals.